Yeah, go ahead and bring Leon in. What?
Sorry.
Okay, you push the button. Go
I
ahead.
thought you gave me.
Go ahead. Go
There
ahead.
we go.
Why are you pushing buttons, Jared?
Yeah, no, right?
He gave me the nod. I thought I was in control.
Well, that's
Yeah,
your first
see,
mistake.
James is saying it didn't shut down for him either.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't think it did.
Some people couldn't see it.
I don't
So
know. That's okay.
like I said, welcome to episode 103 and a half.
There you go.
So if you did see the grudge match with Seventh Day Slumber and Anoxia, Seventh Day Slumber was video number 1. Anoxia was video number 2. Yeah, see, some people were saying mine was still up.
Yeah.
And people were saying, I don't know, maybe across town in Pensacola is a different country. I don't know.
Who knows?
It may be. But anyway, so
I
video
don't know
number
how
1
the
or video
works.
number 2, put it in the comments. Seventh Day Slumber or Anoxia, just do that. And we'll count the votes here.
And my Samsung was working.
Team Apple.
Yeah.
So anyway, so let's get back into the things that we were talking about. So Leon's joining us, and Midnight Fracture is his newest project. And like we were saying, tell us who all's in the band.
Me, myself, and I, and Logic Pro's MIDI drums are the band members of Midnight Fracture. So this is Midnight Fracture as it exists now is my solo project. And I had the idea to the desire to want to do something on my own that was just purely me and my creative mind. For about the last 2 years, I've only just now been able to have the time and the desire and motivation to do so.
And so let's lead up to this. So,
Okay.
You were in Love to Hate, and
For
then
a long time.
and then you moved, and you left Love to Hate.
Yes.
And then you were back in Love to Hate, and then you were gone from Love to Hate again. So you don't have to give us any dirt or any. I don't know what happened there, but kind of what steered you through those areas to get you to where you're at now through Love to Hate.
So as far as the first time, I was offered what I thought was going to be a dream job, which led me away. Turns out there were a few things about said dream job that I was lied to about. And it became a nightmare of a job, which led me and my wife to want to come back home to Mobile. When I told the guys in Love to Hate that, hey, I'm coming back home, I was invited to come back and join the band again. And I did for a brief period of time, but when I came back, I don't want to get too much into it, but just the vibe didn't feel right. It didn't feel like the same band that I had left just a few months previous. And it seemed like the direction was going in a way where I no longer felt like I was a fit for the band where it's going. There's no bad blood. Like, I'm still close to everybody. I spoke to Frank on the phone last week. I talk to Marshall still every now and then. Even past members of Love to Hate. I spoke to Doc and Troy. I spoke to Troy earlier today. I spoke to Doc a couple days ago.
Troy's new stuff is killer.
Yeah, so like it's just one of those things where it's, four wheels were going this way and this wheel wanted to kind of go this way, and so that's what ended up leading me to leave. And yeah, I miss it, and I miss being with those guys. I mean, I dedicated almost 7 years of my life to the project, so it's something I miss, and I'm always going to look fondly on. But it's on to the next thing.
Truly understandable. So we're gonna the song's called "I'm Fine."
Yes.
Tell us a little bit about your first single.
So the first single is a little bit, it's kind of a proof of concept, my pilot episode to this dramatic sitcom that's going on in my head. This project is deeply personal to me because it is basically just me, unfiltered. I don't have any outside voices telling me, play it like this or sing it like this or change this lyric. It's me. It's me and my producer in the room hammering it out. And so the lyrics are deeply personal. A lot of it is an inner monologue. To peel back the curtain, this is not necessarily unique, but I suffer greatly from depression and anxiety, and like most artists do. It's not a unique story. But that's where a lot of this comes from. The name itself came from, I had a panic attack at midnight on a Friday. So the name kind of just, when I was thinking of names for the project, that's what spurred me and inspired me to want to just say, all right, time to get off my ass and actually do this. So that's where the name came from. So like all of this is deeply personal to me. So the lyrics are my own inner monologue or actual events or stories that have happened in my life. So the first single is basically about the greatest lie I've ever told that a lot of people tell. You get asked, hey man, how you doing? How's your day? Your immediate response is, I'm good, I'm fine. How many times has that been a lie? Well, for me, it's 90% of the time. And that's essentially the crux of what the song is about.
All right. Well, we're going to go ahead and play it now. And then we're going to come back and we're going to see if we can pull Jared off of mute and see if he's got anything that he wants to talk to you about.
I'm just waiting for my chance to pounce. I don't like to overtalk.
All right. So here we go. This is I'm Fine. It is a lyric video from Midnight Fracture. It'll be the first time the video has been seen. It'll be the second time the single's been played. So remember when you originally sent it to me, Leon? I was like, oh, this is cool. I like it. I actually played it on the Homegrown show that weekend.
Really?
He didn't know you didn't want him to not play it.
I didn't know you didn't want it played at that time. So,
I mean, go ahead. I didn't. I wish I had known. I would have turned in.
Normally, I'm typing, okay, featuring this band, blah, 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 blah. I just didn't do one that weekend. So, and then when you were talking about, hey, the single's going to release and all that, and I'm like, oh, shit. So, but anyways, I don't know what this was about the Homegrown show, though. Was anybody not listening that night? But no, I'm sure they were. But anyways, here is I'm Fine. It is Midnight Fracture / everybody named Leon Craft is in the band. So here it is. And you are seeing it first on the sound. Lots of good reaction in the comments. People loving it, man.
Yeah, man. Yeah. A little shaky there. Okay. Yeah. That's stepping out there, dude, like you said, on your own. I mean, there's nothing, it's
definitely different when you don't got 4 other dudes behind you.
Right. That's right. For sure. So, yeah. So my questions, Kevin said I was on mute earlier. I was sitting there contemplating what I wanted to ask, but so writing the music, yourself there, you mentioned you are working with a producer, or were you just joking and it's you?
No, I am working with a producer. I'm working with Charlie Hadley, who has formerly worked with Love the Hate. He's recorded Love the Hate, Rise the Phoenix, metal bands like Excessum. So it's one of those where after I had my mental breakdown and I decided, look, I need to do this. The very next day, I messaged Charlie and like, hey, I want to record a record with you. I have these songs ideas. I have these concepts. He became interested in the project. So I'm the primary writer, but he does what the producer does. A good producer kind of joins your band for the moment and it lays on those extra ears. And, he has never told me what to play, but he said, try it like this or try it like that. So then we A and B it.
Arrangements.
And we A and B it and all right, do we like it this way? Do we like it the original way? And that creates the song. But it's honestly always a pleasure to work with Charlie. And I would encourage any just aspiring bands to reach out to Charlie Hadley to work with, because he is amazing. I want him to be able to do this full time. That's what we're all going after. So I want to raise him up too.
Yeah, that's great, man. Are you tracking this with him? Or are you doing that at home, like you said, with Logic, and then bringing it to him, or emailing, or what's that process like?
I'm tracking it with him. So like I create the original concept, and then I go in there and I'm like, all right, this is what I'm doing.
Right.
Here's the tempo, hit record, and then we start to build the song.
Right. Guitar. Do you write? I know you play bass in most of the stuff I've seen you do. I'm assuming you write on the guitar first for
Yes.
this stuff. Yeah.
Yeah. Write on guitar first. And funny thing is, like, I never was a bass player. The Gulf Coast music scene for the last 8 years only knows me as a bass player because when I moved to Mobile in 2014, in October of 2014, so actually almost 8 years to the day, I was hired by this band called As Vulture Circle as the rhythm guitar player. The very next day, the bass player quit. So I happen to have a cheap left-handed Rogue bass sitting in a storage closet, that $99 bass you can get on Musician's Friend. And I was like, all right, cool, I'll play bass. It's supposed to be a temporary thing. 8 years later, I'm still fucking doing it.
Yeah.
But I've always been a guitar player, and actually I pretend to be a vocalist. I've fronted bands before. The last time I fronted a band, I was 19. But I'm getting to kind of now showcase some skills to the Gulf Coast that I haven't had the opportunity to do so yet. And apparently I kind of still got it. So like,
there you go. Yeah. The bass players are so hard to come by, man. I'm sure when those guys saw you pick that up, they're like, all right, we're just going to, that's where he's staying now. You know what I mean? Like, before we go try to find another guy, it's too damn hard. It's just, that's your job now.
No one told me at the time. But
right. Oh, they probably had a meeting and it's like, just don't tell him. Okay. And just don't bring it up. Just let him keep playing the bass. But that's great,
tell him we're looking and we're really not.
Yeah. Put some posts out or something, but he's going to stay on bass. Yeah.
That actually did happen once.
Yeah. Trust me. I know exactly how that went. I wasn't even there. What's the plans moving forward with this, being you yourself and yourself, so to continue to track, or, you want to bring this out live eventually? I'm sure that's the goal, right?
That is definitely the goal. So as far as I'm still in the process, I'm recording and writing an EP right now. As much as I'm like you, Jared, I'm old school. I like full albums, but singles and EPs are kind of the way to go because the average consumer has the attention span of a goldfish nowadays.
We said it on the last show. I think it was the last show, but I and we've said it on 1,000 shows about, EP, single video, with a video, single with a video, single with a video, and keep doing that. I get it. I totally understand that is where we're at. My suggestion was, I think last episode was that, is there a way that with enough forethought on the part of the artist that we can still have an album but I guess you'd have to have the material, pretty much a bulk of it done prior to going in, right? And then record as much of it as you can, which that may not be feasible today. I don't know as far as timing goes, but if you had 6 or 7 songs done, then you could release them that way. And then at the end of it, bulk them together, maybe kick on an extra song, and it's still an album, right? It's just how you let it go.
And that's, at least for the EP, that's kind of the idea, because tracking for the second song, the second single is already done. So I've already tracked a second single. I'm starting pre-pro on a third. I plan to do a live action video. So like me actually acting in front of a camera for the second one. It could be because I'm biased because it's new to me, but if you liked the first one, you're really going to like the second one. Because I'm fine as my proof of concept. This next one that I've already tracked, I don't know. I'm planning my release on that one now. I have a little bit more confidence in myself on this second song.
Especially after tonight. Look at the comments over there.
I actually have it up on my computer screen. I'm trying to avoid looking over there, but as far as the future of Midnight Fracture, like I said, as it exists at this moment, it's my solo project, but I'm kind of Dave Grohling this thing where I'm writing the initial stuff, and eventually, yes, I want to turn this into a band that plays out live and actually tries and goes and does the thing.
Yeah.
So when I'm ready, I will be actively recruiting musicians and to make all the noise and the beats and the bangs behind me while I pretend to be a vocalist.
if you're a musician out there watching right now, start getting put the bug in his ear now if you're interested, and let him know you're there, you know.
Yeah,
who knows what
definitely listen.
Yeah, that's a whole different process though, man. Like you said, you led with, I mean, taking an idea on a guitar and then molding it into a full song. But then, and that happens all the time. I get it, but not having the feedback. It's good that you're working with a producer, because that outside ear is very important. You know what I mean?
I always start with, like, I build the song around the riff.
Right.
Like, I have this cool riff.
Right.
Cool. All right, let's build. So everything always starts with the riff as the basis. And I have a lot of riffs that I wanted to use in Love to Hate that didn't necessarily fit because it was a different style. Like the style I'm doing now is a style I've always wanted to do. It's the style that's always been in my head, which I've always listened to heavier music, and in the mid 2000s when metalcore was huge, like that was my jam.
Yeah.
Trivium, Bullet from a Valentine, Avenged Sevenfold, like that's the era I grew up in, and that was my formative years when I started playing instruments. So like that kind of feel and style is the way I usually write when I sit down with a guitar anyway. So some of these riffs that I'm going to be unveiling, I've had since I was a teenager, and I've just never been able to use.
Cool, man. Cool. That's awesome. That is awesome. All right, Kevin, your mic's on mute now. What you got?
Oh, I'm just, trying to do multiple things at the same time. I'm listening to you guys talk, but at the same time, we just had 2 food trucks sign up for Rocking the Sound. So I'm getting all that together. So we're up to 4 food trucks, and that means we only have room for 1 more food truck.
Who's going to get it?
So, yeah. So we got 1 food truck left for that. So I've kind of been listening, and I can tell you, I don't know. And Jared knows I'm not a musician. I do my best to understand what everybody's talking about, and I can YouTube stuff and Google stuff and all that kind of stuff. But I can't imagine doing it all on your own. I have a hard time. I have a hard time walking by myself, much less putting myself out there and saying, hey, this is 100% me. I have a hard time telling Jared how I feel about stuff sometimes. I just keep it all bottled up.
Yeah.
And you're putting it all out there, everything. I mean,
I'm being probably is on some of the lyrics that I have, I'm being probably a little bit more honest than I maybe should, but I actually, no, I'm going to take that back, because I think if you're being 100% honest in your craft, no matter what it is, if it's coming from a real place and it's something you actually feel and something that you've actually lived, that comes across. Like if you're being fake, I feel like people can tell.
For sure.
So yeah, like I'm going to be saying some things that I've been keeping to myself for the last 8 years. So I'm nervous and terrified, but also just extremely excited at the same time.
Love it, man. That's the beauty of music. It's cathartic. You put yourself out there. It's a little bit of a vulnerable state. But when, people give you the good feedback and you put it out there to the world, that's what makes it worthwhile, in my opinion.
Absolutely.
And it's definitely therapy for me. And I know I am not alone in this. Music has literally saved my life.
Oh, yeah.
Music is why I am still physically sitting here speaking to you two. And like I said, my story may be sad, but it's not unique, but I'm still going to tell it,
Right. Well, we appreciate you letting us play it here and debuting it, even though Kevin debuted it 2 weeks ago. We appreciate you always jumping on the show with us, man. And
Absolutely. Thank you so much.
Dude, I love that you say, the Gulf Coast, because obviously Mobile, is included in that Pensacola area. Like that's our turf, man. And that's how we feel about it. So whether it's, the Louisiana side, Mississippi, Alabama, Florida, it's the Gulf Coast. And we love that. And especially in the music scene.
Absolutely. And speaking of which, I'd like to, because they had a little bit of adversity, but I do want to plug a show going on this Saturday at the Juke Joint, a venue we all know and love. Altered Sun, my boy Troy, who is also a former member of Love the Hate, and Envision. They had there was originally 4 bands on that bill. A couple fell off, but they pushed through some adversity, and the show is still going on at 10 p.m. at the Juke Joint this Saturday, but it's now a free show. I will be there and hanging out, and just as someone who's been through and having to push through to make stuff happen, I really appreciate what they did to make that show still happen, and I want to come out, watch the show. 2 great bands.
Absolutely. And Altered Sun, we will be adding their new song "Raining Down" to the station this week. It's some good stuff. If you haven't had a chance to check it out, it's on Spotify now. The lyric video is out. Altered Sun, "Raining Down" is the name of it. They've done an excellent job. And of course, they'll be joined by Envision. So it's going to be a good time at the good old Juke Joint coming up on Saturday night.
Love it, man.
But some more housekeeping, I guess I should do. So the single officially releases this Friday. It's going to be on all streaming platforms. It'll be on TikTok. You can use it as a sound on your TikToks. It'll be on Facebook. You can use it in your Facebook stories. And yes, Midnight Fracture has a TikTok. I just haven't posted anything yet because I'm still trying to figure out.
We got a TikTok too, and we don't know how to use it.
Really, my wife is going to run the TikTok because I'm like, I have no idea what I'm doing. Help.
Yeah. Well, good deal, man. You got the Facebook page for it and everything, Instagram, all that?
Yes, I do. As a matter of fact, in the chat, I'm going to
drop the link. Yep.
I'm going to post a link. It's in all my links where it has all the pertinent socials. But yes, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, Bandcamp, and Spotify is also on there for when the song actually does go live. But yeah, all these things right there in the chat right now.
Hell yeah, man. Well, thanks for jumping on here with us tonight. We really appreciate it.
Absolutely. It's always a pleasure, gentlemen. Thank you for having me.
Thank you, sir. Have a good